hell we're doing. Slide right up.
It's not the one we called up, is it? Man, that'd take a while. And this is how you come down. Alright. I think it's about 6:45 or something. The camera probably makes it look a little more light out, but it's going to start dimming here pretty quick. Just ate a whole bunch of elk sausages. And it looks like it rained all day, but I got, excuse me, a bunch of repairs done, but I'm going to have to run all the way into town tomorrow and go grab another small motor for that thing out behind me. And bring it back out tomorrow, drop off the other one to get fixed in town because everything's closed here. Now, what better time than to get some emails? Some voices heard, right? Excuse me. It's funny, lots of times I get people telling on other channels and emailing me and telling me what people are doing and they took this and took that and using my name. And I guess what does that say about them? I don't know. That somebody emailed me and told me some channel stole that photo that the gentleman, our friend Richard Hucklebridge, sent to us, directly to us. I guess he's had it for a while, I'd imagine. Sent it to us and somebody took it, posted it right up on their site, YouTube, and somebody saw it, reported it to me, and I caught it by 1 in a million. I know this is kind of useless to talk about, but it's kind of odd to me what people do. I guess the guy said that I sent it to him. I don't even know who this person is. Absolutely lied and used my name in a lie, so I kind of let him have it. As anybody should, right? Whatever, minor. But I don't know why people do that. I guess people are trying to do something online. They're trying to get followings or get views. Whatever they're trying to do, they're trying to do. All right? And I'm sure a lot of them are still watching. And if you are watching and you are somebody who's trying to do something online, but you feel you have to steal other people's stuff to do it, well, you're probably not going to be very successful at your goal, right? You either have a way to help the people, and that's going to make you more popular because you're actually helping people instead of doing fraudulent bullshit moves. It's going to backfire on you. You know what I mean? I guess that's just about a tiny word of advice for the people out there who think somehow their brain tells them that they need a following. And they want it so bad. Just try not to, don't mimic people, don't steal from people. And then maybe you'll pull it off. I don't know. Anyways, I'm losing time of life talking about that, aren't I? Just so you guys know, I'm not affiliated with any channel. I do not promote anybody. At this stage of the game, especially when it comes to this topic, I do not have one channel I can think of that I promote currently. There you go. I'm just all about the people, man. We're all sitting here at our huge freaking coffee table, supporting each other, sharing truth with each other. That's all we're doing. Now, I was going through Messenger. There's a Messenger app on this phone, and I guess it goes back, connects to Facebook or something. And I went back. There's message requests on there. They go back 5 years. Oh my God. Thousands. I actually, found a couple that were people sending me in their experiences, and I found when I copied it. It's a lot of time to go through all that. It's a lot of time to go through everything. Anyways, enough babbling. Listen to this. A little late, but we got it. Hey Steve, my name is Nathan King from Southeast Tennessee near Scott Carpenter. I really enjoy your channel. I just found it last month and have been listening since. I have a story in regards to Sasquatch. The story is not my own, but my father's, who passed in the late fall of 2012 due to a major stroke. Sorry to hear that, man. The summer before he passed, he stayed in North Georgia at his land in Ramhurst at the south end of Fort Mountain. In August, my brother and I went down to see him. We, and really himself went tanning with him. Sorry, typo. Damn it. Okay, there's typos. When talking with them, and then this is confusing. I copied this roughly. If you accept, Jonathan will be able to call you and see him. He wasn't really himself. When talking with him, he would stare off, not saying much, with almost a look of concern on his face, which is not like him at all, as he was usually talkative. Hold on a minute. This is... Oh, shit. Alright, I guess I screwed up. I had to screenshot it 4 different times to get the whole message because it wouldn't let me copy the text and then copy the text from your screenshot. So I guess I stacked them in here wrong, which caused a little bit of flub up. But we're going to get to what he was trying to get across easily anyway. If you accept, Jonathan will be able to call you and see him. He wasn't really himself. When talking with him, he would stare off, not saying much, with almost a look of concern on his face, which was not like him at all, as he was usually talkative. After a while, he started trying to get out and tell an experience that he had the night before. As he would tell the experience, he would stop and start the story throughout as if he was reliving it again. He said he was sitting in the rocking chair on the porch about dark time when he noticed towards Fort Mountain, about 200 yards off in the field, 2 red flashlights moving around, which he thought was very odd. These lights started moving in a zigzag while staying together across the field towards his place. As the lights came closer, he realized they were eyes and could hear deep, low-tone growling, with odd noises mixed in. It was then he noticed the shape of it as a very tall figure. At this point, he grabbed his 12 gauge as he watched it. It came to within 50 yards of the cabin, where it stopped at the pond. He could only make out its silhouette and the eyes that seemed to emit light. After about 10 minutes of it standing there, it veered off in another direction. After hearing the story, my brother started searching YouTube for Sasquatch sounds and let him listen to try and figure out if any of them matched what he heard. He finally found one called The Sierra Sounds Part 2 that he said was identical to it. I remember my dad used to act like Sasquatch. I remember my dad used to act like Sasquatch was far-fetched. So to have him tell the story was wild in itself. Maybe the story will help someone that has experienced anything similar to it, or in understanding more of what these are. Thanks, Steve, for helping to fight for the truth, even when it isn't popular with the majority. There you go. I think I screwed up on a few sentences in your story, but I got the gist of it, right? Appreciate you sending that. Sorry your dad passed. And I guess him joking about it was his way of dealing with what he knew, right? The camera straight? Hold on a minute here. Hold on a minute. There we go. Now, also what I found, trying to clean up my phone, I went into the folder section of my phone where the downloads go, and I guess I downloaded, somebody sent me their story in a document which goes into my folders. So I managed to copy that and I put it in my notes where I keep everybody. Now let's listen to this one. It's made in point form, I think. So here we go. 1 year listening to email accounts and gathering patterns. 2021 archery elk hunting, Eastern Oregon. Initial 9-day encounter. Wow. First night, black form in kitchen window, horrible stench. Second night, game camera moved, trash can moved, trash bag rolled like a sock. Across highway, hollowed area in blackberry patch. Tweety bird whistles, scat. Chaos behind the new RV, pulling in. An hour later, King Kong roar, rattle chest. Okay, these are all point form, but the symbol for the point's a small O. Sorry, it's just the way I copied it. Rocks smashing next morning in stand. Told them I'm just hunting, no harm to their family. Rock smashing next morning. I have a right to feed my family too. These are all point sentences. Down his 9-day elk hunt, I guess. They chased elk over to me. I got a cow. They tossed rocks around me while I packed it out. I caught one on the game camera while taking it down. What? 2 weeks later, they were smacking the side of my house multiple nights. Howling from the swamp, getting the coyotes to go crazy. Can hear their voices in the howling. Bad feeling while lying in bed. In head, quote, if you're not aligned with Christ, leave, end quote. Wow. Loud smack on the house immediately near my bed. Shot a raccoon at 3 a.m. Arrow hits the chicken house. Mom Sabe calls out with a rough owl hoot across the road. A little Sabe returns the call opposite side of the road behind the neighbor's house. You can hear them walking closer to where I am in the backyard. Multiple nights while reading on the couch, I could suddenly smell wet, sweaty hay, wet dog, or poop. I'd always look around for the smell, but it would disappear within minutes. Touched my back while sleeping during the night. When I looked up, there was a loud whoop from outside the bedroom window. Rocked my son-in-law and daughter's trailer in the driveway. I believe it was the kid, 6 foot tall and lanky. I prayed around the corners of the property for them to stay away in Jesus' name. Went to the swamp to get a game camera, and as soon as I stepped out of the truck, I heard a very loud whistling. Peat sound from 30 yards in the swamp and across the logging road and up into the clear cut. I heard a smallish reply. Got my game camera, and coming back to the road, I asked the parents to keep their son from touching the trailer as it scared my family. The next morning, I walked into the backyard at 5 a.m. to check. Young boy was in the backyard. Couldn't hear him, but the quail alarmed, and I saw his shadow hiding behind my smoker and then creeping away. I was touched on my hand one night in bed, and then my leg stroked like a finger. I was touched on my hand one night in bed, and then my leg stroked with a finger the next night. I was totally calm, and I fell back asleep, induced. Many sounds outside the house that night. Young boy standing in the crack of my bedroom doorway inside the house. When I saw him, he flashed out of sight, but the movement triggered the motion light in the hallway. Holy shit. Could hear the kids tapping on my house. Could hear the kids tapping on my mouse cages in another room at night. Found out later that they were taking them out and holding them, and then just letting them loose in the room. Shadows in my backyard, around the woodpile. 1.5 to 2 foot, peering and then darting away. Black raven feather left in the middle of my garden path 1 hour after I'd walked through. Riding a mountain bike up a steep grade in Palmer Trail area in the woods, one of them picked up the rear of my bike so that my tire spun freely for a few seconds. Triggered the motion light downstairs repeatedly until I realized they wanted me to give the mice some water. They were out and thirsty. Stopped after I gave the mice water. First time my wife realized they were coming into the house. Woke up to the mom or dad, cloaked, standing 3 feet from my bed, swaying. Watched each other for a long time, and then I said in my head, "You can't stay here all night." Then it just faded away. 2023, July 5th, 2 to 3 a.m. Awoke on the couch with tree knocks outside the front door across the street. Sat outside for 5 minutes. Nothing happened. Went inside, closed the door, fell asleep, and then I woke to my whole body vibrating and my spine warm. Woke again around 6 a.m., and my damaged spinal discs were totally healed. I've got the back of a 20-year-old kid. Hitchhikers began to appear in my house. Different sizes at all times, 95% of the time just appearing to me. Woke one night to a 2-inch orb floating near me. Bright but fully contained light. It slowly floated up and into the seam on my safe and was gone. Woke to a small gray cryptid standing next to our bed. As soon as I saw it, it vanished. I rebuked it in Jesus' name. First and last time I saw one of them. 3 to 4 foot tall, black almond eyes. Healing vibrations continued in different places in my torso over the next 1.5 months, 12 times. 4K dreams. Dracula is a dream that has stayed clear and sharp with me. Weird orb, half in the ceiling and half out. Spider web of light in the ceiling. Drywall made its way toward the bed, around the soffit, rebuked in Jesus' name. Got up and left the room. Crazy creepy. Howler monkey howling outside the house, getting the coyotes going crazy. Super loud and incredibly clear tones. First real close, and then very quickly farther away. Hearing large tree branches breaking outside the house at 3 a.m. Hearing metal door clanging sounds at night around 3 a.m. Portal. Pine cones thrown out the window to let me know they are at the house. I would go sit on the back porch to let them see me. Once I was too tired to get up, and I got a pine cone fly through my night vision in bed with my eyes closed, and it clanged off the inside of my skull so loud they weren't happy. 3 pine cones lined up in the top center of my back porch deck. young one in my kitchen window, and as soon as I saw it, flash, it was gone to the left. Many times seen them looking in the window, and when seeing them, flash, they're gone. But they wind up walking by my laundry room window, and I can see their hairy back going by. Tan color, 4 to 6 inch, long hair. Little one, 2 to 3 feet tall, raced past me in the gravel driveway while loading the back of my truck. I saw a zip flash, laughed, looked around the truck, of course, nothing. Told him he's fast, but I did see him. Hunting camp 2023. Owl whose first night. Fell asleep, woke to a giant hound on my chest. I couldn't breathe, fighting for breath. Saw a vision looking down 30 feet in air of a large black sabe outside my trailer next to my bed. I woke the next morning to the hitchhiker attachment having been removed, whistling at me while hiking and hunting. Very clear, crisp, beautiful sounds. Thermal image of 2 adults on hilltop about 300 yards away. Fuzzy thermal of them only. Can't scare me, firefighter. Scared with bubble sound over should while hiking / hunting. Mega typo there. Missing buck of a kid who told his own sabe story. Pushing wife's head into a pillow and thumping on the floor next to the bed. Just her. Wife hearing a car crash into the downstairs, but nothing there. Wife hearing dishes crash behind her in the kitchen with nothing there. Woke me by gently pressing down on my feet that were resting on the arm of the couch. Daylight. Hearing them stepping on leaves outside the bathroom window. Daytime, can't see anyone. Black shadow head / shoulders sticking out from doorway 6 feet away during the day while reading a book. Suck a bus made me mad. I grabbed and throttled. Heard growl / scream in my head. Maybe a typo in that point. Eating the ivy leaves near my bedroom window. Cloaked figure in the bedroom. 3 a.m. Tiny sparkling stars inside the cloak twinkling. Commanded in Jesus' name to leave. Melted into gray smoke that rose and raced around over my head and out the door / window. This is like a lot. Resting on the couch, eyes closed, could see through someone else's eyes as they blinked. I couldn't make out what they were looking at. In my home office during the day, something clanging around in the heater ductwork in the ceiling, like a kid trying to turn around. Nightly banging noises around the house during the day sometimes. For weeks, I would rebuke Jesus' name, and if the hitchhikers left, they would come back the next night. What are the hitchhikers again? I mean, we had a small almond-eyed being. It's a little confusing, this one, for me, but I'm going to keep going. First time I rebuked everything as I was exhausted. The Sabe were mad and slammed a door in my head. Loud. They seemed to leave quicker when I changed my statement to, "The Lord rebuke you." Months of this go by, crunching chip bags in front of us, can't see anything. Praying in Jesus' name for it all to go away. Something big and wide hovering near the ceiling of the kitchen. I rebuked it in Jesus' name. It sucked up into the ceiling, and gray smoke rolled in a circle away from the spot. Got up to ensure it was gone, and could smell burnt stone. Had a 4K dream looking out the window at night at the street, seeing something. Not a man, but not really a Sabe, walking across the road to the other side of the neighbor's double wide. I lean out to see if it's going to come my way, and the jello energy slams me in my back against the counter, enveloping me. I wake up, laying on the couch, with this energy coming over me from the couch upwards. I pray in Jesus' name over and over. It finally goes away. Woke to something like a Mardi Gras mask hovering next to me. Flicked it with my fingernail. Hit something hard and it disappeared. Can hear the hitchhikers banging around the feet of the couches at night while watching TV. Morning. in the bathroom on the toilet, and something next to my right ear takes 2 big breaths. I glance and then ignore it. What the heck? I didn't even flinch. Getting punchy with all this. Banging on the bottom of couches, zipping around the house. Just seeing wispy black fast motion, constant. Reached up to the couch and touched my back with hand/fingers. Coming up to the bed/couch, making it feel like sitting/laying on jello. Traveled to Eastern Washington. There in 2 days, standing in the kitchen. Oh, they were there in 2 days, standing in the kitchen window. 11 p.m. Footprint by my bathroom window. Traveled to Arizona, knocking. Traveled to Hawaii, first time, knocking on metal pole. 2 a.m., 3 to 5 knocks. Traveled to Hawaii the second time, walking behind friend in hammock during the night on a volcano, knocking with clamshells around, black figure in the condo, walking along with me in the bushes. What the hell? This is sounds like the Amityville Horror. Came home, turned Christian hymns on, medium volume. A few minutes later, a volume goes to 50. I turn it down. It then mutes. I turn it up and say, quote, is that the best you can do, end quote? The next day, cutting grass, dumped grass 30 yards away, came back, and it's hard to cut. The rear axle had been adjusted to the lowest setting. I fixed it and finished. I then get water jugs to refill spring water. I get to the spot, left my keys and phone on a console, walk to the tailgate, and it's locked. I go to the cab, it's locked. An hour later, after getting a ride to get some spare keys, arrive home and test the locks with the fob inside. Doesn't unlock. Give up, step out, and all locks hammer down with the doors open. Quit caffeine, then had strange hitchhikers cling onto the back of my head while sleeping, attached while sleeping, and then after waking, rebuke in Jesus' name to remove. Wood stack on each other, pull at my face, and vibrate constantly. Probably typo there. Went on for a few weeks, always rebuked and remove. Feel like they were absorbing the pain of caffeine withdrawal at the base of my neck. I rebuked one in a Dallas hotel room. It went down into the bed immediately, and a table, chair, lamp crashed in the room below us, woke my wife. Happened again when I returned home, attaching to the back of my head/neck. Came to me to revoke rights they may have gotten from me to touch me, be in my house, etc. Russ Dizdar used to speak of this. Immediately a peace settled over the house. 2 weeks later, and still 99% of the noises are gone. Had a few weak neck attachments, but rebuked in Jesus' name. Whenever the Sasquatch are at the house, the hitchhikers are gone. I don't think they get along. I had another all-enveloping energy, jello feeling come over me. Woke me at 2 a.m. like the Sabe like to do. Wake me up before they do something. Hitchhikers don't do that. And then I get this haunting feeling, and up to the couch comes the jello feeling energy. I rebuked it away. I broke out into a cold sweat and realized later that the sweat broke my cold, and I was feeling better. All right. Shared. That's a doozy. Don't know what to say to that. Haven't a frickin' clue. If this is all seriously happening to you, it sure sounds like some kind of demonic possession shit. Something that I don't want nothing to do in my life. That's for sure. What do you say to that one, you guys? Huh? I don't know myself. But if you wish to, if you're still here with us. So that was a long time ago. I found that in my frickin' messenger inbox. Long time ago. I don't know. I mean, you know what? Some people might think, why the hell did you keep reading that? But then again, you know what? with the amount of crazy shit going on, how many of you are going to relate to what I just read? Who knows? We're going to find out, right? If it's legit, that's the only way we're going to find out is by sharing it openly. That's the only way, no matter how crazy it sounds. And then we get people sounding off and creating patterns. And then we really got to listen hard, right? That's the way it works. What do we got here? Is this one? No, it's not. Okay. Keep going down here. Okay, here we go. I think this might be a little long one too, but hey, what else am I going to do right now? It's a long one. Going in. Please don't share my name if you decide to read this on your channel. I don't expect you to read this as it's a long one, but feel free to edit if you want to share the meat potatoes. All right, here we go. Excuse me, still digesting my elk sausages. I can't begin to tell you how lucky I am that your channel randomly popped up on my YouTube homepage. From then on, I've watched most of your videos. I don't have much free time. Wife, work, and business owner. Music, etc. Relax and watch your videos. Like what thousands of others are saying, what you're doing for those who had an experience they didn't ask for is amazingly helpful and kind. I can't wait for you to get your platform up and running. Big tech can F off. Side note, I've not ever had the want or desire to do social media like Facebook, Instagram, etc. I hate my phone and I think all tech is the cause of most trouble with humanity. Trying/failing to be human. I see how it's useful, like this channel, etc., and has its place, but humans as a whole can't handle it, and the government loves that. I totally agree with you on your points about the government's manipulating, controlling, and lying to us. All your points in regards to that bullshit is spot on, man. Babylon, brother, you speak truth. I grew up in rural Vermont and New Hampshire, and was that little kid that didn't watch much TV, not because there wasn't one to watch, but I would rather play outdoors in the woods, ride my bike, snowmobile, sled ride, ski, especially skiing. When I was outside in the woods, I would always tote my BB gun until I was 8, then my 22 when I was older. I loved to pick off chipmunks and squirrels. I was never alone. I had a Malamute wolf mix that was well over 140 pounds. Loved that dog. He was my first big loss in life, and I still remember how sad I was, as little as I was. Condolences to you for losing Macaroni. Super sad when you shared that a bunch of weeks ago. Okay, hold on. You said to edit out, right? Okay, so here's some screwed up shit that happened out in this neck of the woods. In 1995, my father, 2 uncles, his brothers, my cousin and myself were fishing at night off the bank of the Connecticut River, trying to land some huge eels. It was late and we were discussing packing up and heading home. Being close to a hospital, there's always an airlift/medevac helicopter busy, and also that river we were fishing was a VFR corridor for small aircraft. So, seeing landing lights from these small aircraft was nothing out of the ordinary. That night, I saw what we thought was a landing light way off in the distance headed south, as the river flows north to south. I said to everyone in the group, quote, "Hey, check this out. The guy's getting pretty close." Well, this thing started out small off in the distance and just grew in size. Within literally a few seconds, it stopped, and as we looked at it above us, it just stayed there for roughly 3 to 4 seconds. Then it flew off east over a large ridge. Flew is a bad word to use. It covered about 5 miles across the sky in 1 second. I know it was that distance because of the ridge it flew over, and that's how far away the ridge is from where we're standing. The path it took from when we first noticed it to when it flew east was north to south, west to east, at roughly a 90-degree angle. We were all in shock and knew that just wasn't normal. We were in such haste to get out of there that I somehow dropped my glasses on the ground, only to have to go get them the next day. This all happened within 1 year before my grandfather dying. He was the staple of the family. World War II Navy vet with badass missions he'd always share, and he had the medals to prove it. This man was tough as nails. He died at home with all of his immediate family around. I was in his room saying goodbye, holding his hand as he took his last breath, almost breaking my hand. No joke. It was the most powerful experience of my life, next to my children being born. Wow. The winter before the orb experience, my dad and one of the uncles that we were fishing with were out snowmobiling late in the night, early morning. I, for whatever reason, was not with them. I must have been at the girlfriend's house. I usually was with them because that's what we did in the winter. Anyways, when I saw my dad the next morning, he told me this gem. Quote, "Your uncle and I were stopped on the side of the snowmobile trail taking a break, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, there was what sounded like someone driving an axe into the trees close to us." I questioned him about the sound, how many times he heard it, and where it was. And he said, it was the loudest sounding axe/splitting maul sound I've ever heard. It happened twice in a row, really fast. I got on the sled and had it started quicker than ever because my adrenaline was pumping. I drove off so fast for so long, I forgot about your uncle. Oh no. That's a pretty impactful sound, I'm guessing, right? I stopped to see if he was coming. I waited for a few minutes. Along he came, and when he stopped, his eyes were bugged out. I said to my father, I thought it was some kids playing pranks or maybe a landowner scaring off people. He was very much correct in saying that nobody was out there at 1:30 in the morning in those temperatures. He said it was close to the state forest property, about 7 miles from our house, on a trail I was all too familiar with. They were the only ones out there in that area at that time. Before I wrote this to you, Steve, I asked them about these encounters, just to make sure that my remembrance of these times jived with what they remembered. Scary how we don't forget. I've never had an encounter with these beings, but when I was a little kid, even up till my late 20s, I went out in the woods thinking that it's totally possible that Bigfoot exists, and always be prepared for anything as best you can be. That is until I watched a couple of episodes of Finding Bigfoot and Survivor Man's bid and making himself look like an a-hole. I came away with the feeling like it was all a hoax. Seriously, my mind was made up. I discovered Joe Rogan about 4 years ago, and he was backing up my suspicions. Like I said in the beginning of this email, I can't believe to tell you how lucky I am to have found your channel. There's no flipping way all these people writing into you, including you, are lying. Absolutely not. When I told these stories to my neighbor as a test to see what they would say, he said, the tree sound was probably timber settling due to the cold. He also said, there's no Bigfoot, like so many have been brainwashed into thinking. No one's seen any bones, or there's no corpse. He said the orb during the fishing encounter was the space station reflecting light off itself from the sun. He's also a far left swinging atheist. Say no more. Can't imagine what folks are going through with friends and families not believing them of their encounters. Must be awful. My uncle and I were talking too prior to me writing this to you, and he has a great theory about the orbs and Bigfoot. He said, it's UFOs effing around. We'll drop them off here for a while and come back and pick them up. Sounds plausible to me. Especially if the footprints stop or start out of nowhere, with no influence of wind-blown snow or sand. He had a UFO experience at the beach on Long Island Sound when he was in his late teens back in the late 70s that left him and my grandmother so shook up that I could never get her to talk about it. Since I found your channel, I have serious reservations about doing any backcountry trips anymore. I have thousands invested in gear and all the time invested years prior to hone my skills. For what? It's because I have the family and they need me around, and combination with, if my head's on a swivel the whole time, how can that be enjoyable? I don't want to see one, but in a way I do. I'd like to be able to communicate in a way so that it/they would understand me saying, this land is yours. I'm not here to try to inflict harm to you or your family, and my passing is simply peaceful. Please don't chuck a huge rock at my dome or scream, because I usually don't carry an extra pair of Y-fronts with me in the wilderness. Did we read this, or is this the second person that's referred to Y-fronts? Because I remember reading that term a long time ago, and it made me laugh. Men's underwear, apparently. Y-fronts. But I don't remember. I would have remembered them talking about catching eels. I've never heard of anybody saying they're trying to catch large eels. Some quick, fun facts. The business I run requires the utmost in concentration and responsibility, and I have to keep a clean/level head. There are active military bases and a retired nuclear power plant, all within a 70-mile radius of these encounters. Others have seen the orbs. The email from the woman that wrote in from New England, referencing her camping trips with family at Ascutney State Park back in the 70s. That's almost in my backyard. I've never taken the time to reach out in this way before to someone that I've never met in person. After spending a ton of time watching your videos, I felt the need to share this. I can trust you enough, just like thousands of others. If there's ever anything you could use from the States that maybe you can't get up in Canada, let me know and I'll try to help. I hope we volley back and forth a bit because you seem like a brother from another mother. I get it, you're a busy guy, but just know you have my full support and absolutely love what you're doing. Stay safe out there and keep up the good work. Brian. Brian, I hope this didn't take a long time to find this, and I never read this before, and I appreciate you sending that. And we're all ears for updates. And what would I like help to get up from the States? The list is too long. From up here in Canada, Stan. The list is too long. How about a new leader? I guess you guys got to find a good one first, though, right? Let alone two, so you can spare me one. Throw me one. It's endless. It's endless. Alright, what's this? This is... Has this been read? Hold on a minute. I'm going through folders, obviously. Okay, this is a screenshot. No name. Evening Steve. From up in the Yukon. 19 miles from the Yukon-Alaska border. I am a First Nations elder with a bit of information on what the three of us hears and saw their home being built a few years ago when my sister-in-law was still alive, and we were out hunting in fall time down the Alaska Highway from our homes. We were getting ready to leave when she said that there was a cave on the side of a mountain. Read this before. Long time ago. I never forgot this. I'll read it again. I'm going to read it again. A cave on the side of the mountain that wasn't there before. She passed her binoculars to my husband, my younger brother, then on to me. And yes, there it was. But how did she see that hole among a huge mountain? A bunch of spruce trees and with poplar, birch trees, and willows galore. And it was in a very tiny clearing. The next time we saw the hole was so much bigger. It showed definitely there was more work done, and even being worked on. Then the next time, there were many trees put up in front of the cave to be hidden from us. On the highway? Later on, we stopped at a place on the highway, crossed it, and as we were standing on a hill, a very loud hollering was coming from across the lake. It kept it up. And as listened to it, when finally stopped, I shouted that hard and long. I think he meant he mimicked it and shouted that hard and long. I would have to take 3 breaths to keep up with that shout. My conclusion is that he killed a bull moose and was shouting to tell the others at home to carry meat home. What do you think? I left quite a bit out, but can fill you in later if you want, Steve. Respectfully and truthfully, Stan Peters. Stan, I hope you're still here with us, man. I'd love to have you email in more, whatever you got, because I know there is a pile of sightings around the Yukon, especially on the south side of the BC border. Lots. Carcross, lots. And no, there isn't a Sasquatch being on the face of the earth that needs a hand moving a dead moose. Not a chance. Can you see how easily it would be to guess that, being from the north and knowing how wolves work out, right? As soon as they get a kill down, they all howl up for the pack to come. And us humans do the same when we get a moose. Here's another screenshot. Richard Becerra. Becerra? B-E-C-E-R-R-A. Hey Steve, I was on a SOG team in Central America 40 years ago, and I've seen one of these beings before. For your information, my buddy, who was still in the service, told me of a time they were told to mount up and lock and load during winter mountain training because a unit had been wiped out. What wiped out that unit was not human, but something that was not part of the mission. My buddy said they were sent on a seek and destroy mission, and they did. I'm sorry for being so vague, but some things need not be elaborated on due to military security. Enough said. Stay safe. Continue the great work you're doing. Okay, Richard, you still here with us? Maybe. If you are, top us up. Send me an email. And top us up with something. That sounds freaking crazy. All right. What's this about? Somebody. Okay, there's nothing in there. Sorry. Okay. All right, here we go. Here's another older one. No name sharing. Hey, brother. I'm a Shuswap First Nation, and I finally thought I would share this with one of the handful of people I know have experienced the terror these monster beings can put in your chest. Shuswap, so we're talking central southern BC. I'm almost 30, and I've grown up in the woods, and I'm an avid mule deer hunter, and I've never been scared in the woods, ever. Actually, up until my first encounter, excuse me, it's where I would go day or middle of the night when I needed to be away from everything on days off, mostly to forget about the job I had at the time, and it definitely worked. Weirdly enough, I would just go there to smoke pot and listen to music and clear my brain. I know what you're thinking now. A hippie. No, sir, not quite. I have a Red Seal trade, and I worked in the oil and gas for a long time. That being said, I've got to give thanks to it all the same time. Anyway, it was about 12:45 in the morning, July 18th, 2019. I had no idea who you are at this point, but within a week of that date, I know all about your channel. I'm sitting in my truck at the base of a nearby mountain, doing the things I listed above. I had my new dirt bike in the back of my truck, and I was considering getting home, because it was late. I had all the windows down and the music just loud enough I could still hear my gas engine running. Not very loud at all. As usual, I had the rear cargo lights on, and pretty much everything else on except the interiors. Thankfully, my truck was running, and I was sitting laid back thinking about all the good things I had in my life. And all in the matter of about 10 seconds total, from the start to me frickin' bolting out of there. The hood of my pickup lit up like someone was shining a bluish spotlight directly on me from the trees above. Completely dumbfounded on what was happening. I could see the road behind me, to the left and to the right, where eventually the main logging road was. It started flickering, and I heard a sound like a tick, 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 with every flash. Now let me remind you, I'm in the middle of nowhere, in the bush at this point. My heart was almost beating out of my chest. I honestly was so scared to look up Steve. I put my truck in drive, put it to the floor till I got to my house. So me being me, I go home and pack my shit and I get off and I go off to the mainland. What? Sorry. Oh, sorry. I pack my shit and I get off of the mainland. Knowing nothing about Sasquatch, I actually end up camping near a location where you said your friends had experiences with Sasquatch near Victoria. I know, just run away to Sasquatch Central, Vancouver Island. I returned home after Canada Day, stopping in Whistler and relaxing, with nothing out of the ordinary happening on my trip. But within hours of me walking through my front door, I could not stop thinking about what had happened. I said to myself, not a frickin' chance I'm letting this get to me. I'm going to go up there tonight by myself and shout and yell, and nothing's going to happen. I'll return home with nothing to prove. Wrong. I grab my 30-30 and a can of Budweiser for moral support. I park in the very same spot and get out of my truck and crack a beer. With the headlamp on and all the green light and all the lights on and my pickup running, including the engine on and the door open, I was scared shitless at this point. I start yelling at the top of my lungs, telling this thing or whatever the lights were to get the F off my mountain. Apparently this thing didn't like that. About 1,000 yards just below the top of the mountain, this roar/scream so loud came from those rock bluffs where nobody has ever gone that it took over my yelling. It lasted about 8 to 12 seconds. Obviously, I was full of adrenaline at this point, and when it stopped, I yelled at the top of my lungs, "Get the F off my mountain," multiple times. And half through me saying it the second time, not even 100 yards to the right of me in the bush, the roar scream was directed right at me. I didn't shit my pants, but it was close. I felt it in my chest. I have goosebumps thinking about it right now. I couldn't see with my headlamp what it was. And I was frozen, trying to make my legs work. Finally, I just stared at the ground, calmly walking to my truck, expecting to be picked up off the ground by something. The whole 20 yards. I got inside and drove home and drank an entire bottle of Bacardi rum. Haha. I told one group of friends about this and got laughed at. Thankfully, my brother/hunting partner believes me, though. Thanks for being an event for all of us, and I've got a muley backpack hunt planned for the summer/fall. Thanks to your channel for making me feel normal about this. Once again, thank you, Steve. Hope you enjoyed my story. There you go. That was read quite a long time ago. I got no problems reading again. Now I wonder if you're still hanging out here. I wonder. Oh. It's unfortunate, especially your friends, and if they were First Nations as well, they laughed at this topic. Unfortunate, right? Because it was the truth of this topic was directly handed down through the generations of all the First Nations communities originally, right? But maybe that's the modern world and the education system screwing all the next younger generations, right? So that they get conditioned to laugh at the real shit that's going on. But anyway, you're still here. Email me again if you're still hanging out. I'm sure something else has happened since then with you, or you've learned something, or somebody's told you something. I put money on it. But I think a lot of people, including Darren, a lot of people lash out verbally while something's going down, and they get the same emotion back at them. Only a little more intimidating. I think I've put that pattern. I think I've taken note of that pattern, and so I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to be doing, what I should do, how I should go about doing it, or if I'm going to do it. That I've found that if you act out and yell in any kind of aggro at all, you're going to get it back. Like what happened with Darren that first time. Second time, when he was in the woods and he was telling him to F off and yelled. And he got it. He said it really amped up what they were doing back at him with sounds and trees getting beat on and shit. But then he went back out there and faced it up again and went totally neutral and stated his case that he's not here to harm him or try to prove anything or sneak anything. And that worked out for him. So far. Maybe, possibly, right? I'll be talking to Darren again soon. But it's going to be interesting to see what comes with his ride. I'm very, very curious to see what's going to happen, because that's more than likely going to have a big impact on whether or not I am going to go right to that spot with him. He really wants me to go in there. He thinks absolutely they're going to contact me if we go in there. And I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest. I'd expect it. I think. I'm not demanding it. If that's going to go down, all right. Communicate away. But I'm not giving anybody permission to come and torment the living shit out of me for the rest of my life, especially at home and especially during my time of doing what I love to do. So I need to be certain that gamble, that roll of the dice, isn't going to be quite the roll of a dice. I need to know in my gut. I'll know. I think I'll know what from my gut for the ultimate decider is when I pack my stuff, get ready to go with Darren, get over there, hit the trailhead. I'll know. Once you get me in the real world, my internal instincts are on fire. I'm absolutely connected with what I should or shouldn't do, where I should or shouldn't go once I'm back out there in that timber, in the forest, in the mountains. My gut's in absolute control, and it's very accurate. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens, right? I know there's a lot of you out there that care about my well-being, and I care about everybody as well, and I appreciate that. Got a lot of people emailing me saying, don't do it. Don't do it. You know how I am about people telling me not to do something. But that's not going to be why I go forward and do this, just to be in spite. It would not be that silly. But the gut's going to tell me. I'm going to have to do it pretty quick, though. Well, I got a lot of busy days coming up. People are coming fishing. So, interesting times, right? That's the end of me sharing emails right now, too, if anybody gets annoyed with my voice. I'm not sure if everybody's aware or not, but the criminal shit show going on the planet right now, they're really, really, really ramping up a military confrontation with China right now. Did you guys know that? Probably not. A lot of people probably don't have a clue. But that's going down right now. It's pretty upsetting for me because I like to go fly for holidays in the wintertime, which takes us right by Taiwan and China. I can see that coming to an end fairly quickly if all this shit's going down with the insane, psychopathic, criminal sons of bitches that somehow have earned the position they're in right now. The amount of wars and the killing that's been going on this past few years is right out of control. They're pushing their limits with Russia, and now they are allegedly about to go for it with China. But hey, I guess that means we're going to be safe in Canada, though, right? Because basically they've had our little criminal leader bent over for a long time now anyway, so I don't think they have any interest in taking over Canada because they probably already half. But it's pretty upsetting. I wish that everybody would understand that right now what's going on the other side of the planet in both directions is absolute threats to your future, our future, right? It really makes me frustrated, angry, and I want to go stop them. I wish everybody would just stop what they were doing across the board. Everybody in the planet, shut her down and stop right now. Just put the brakes on at all costs. Right? Everybody put the brakes on and stop dead. And don't move forward an inch until the shit storm gets put out. Right? It's all that anybody would need to do. Just put the brakes on. That's it. That's not violent. There would be any violence. There's just no violence, no confrontation. Just put the brakes on. Stop. Stop the wheel from turning. At all costs. Because I'll tell you what. Imagine how many people who've had their homes blown up this past week, this past month, this past year. I wonder how many people whose families have been wiped out, kids have been slaughtered, homes that have been in families' names for generations are absolutely obliterated. I wonder how many of those people right now wished that they could have got their community to put the brakes on. But now it's too late. But it ain't too late for all of us here, is it? Everybody needs to just put the brakes on and put an end to this shit. Go get the bad criminal bastards, pull them out of their little hidey holes, string them up, be done with them, and start focusing on having a frickin' party. Right? But anyway, there you go. I'm tired. I'm melting. I shouldn't eat. So I ate a whole package of elk sausages. Ooh. So, hopefully this weather clears up, and I can get some adventures recorded this next couple days, and keep smashing forward. Share my story, howtohunt.com. Get it to me. All right? Get it to me. Get the truth out. Get it spoken. And if you're curious of what's going on in China, there's two men that I listen to. I trust them with my life. And that's that channel, The Duran. You listen to what they had to say about the China conflict today. If you want a good solid source for some information on what's really going on out there, have a listen to them. Anyway, time to go. I'm going to bed. I should see you guys. Well, this is going to be posted for tomorrow, so I'll be back here day after tomorrow. Here we go.
Yeah, he did.
Did he ever gulp it?
All right, I'm gonna pop it. There he goes.
That was a good